I want to talk about working with the tip and the difference that you'll run into with different pieces of cane from the same batch, from the same gouge, from everything similar except the reeds are going to vibrate very differently, and how to approach it. So this reed, it's a hard piece of cane. The gouge is a medium style gouge, not overly strong, but this piece of wood just doesn't want to move. So if I try playing it, a lot of resistance there when you play it. And this is what you have to gauge when you're working with reeds, is how well does it vibrate, how much resistance, and so on. And you discover that when you're initially working with it. So what I'm realizing is that with a strong piece of wood, so what I need is definition. I need to define the tip and see if we can't get it to vibrate a little better. Now the angle, also the angle that you define and where at the beginning of the tip is going to determine a lot about the way that reed works. I find that if it's a really hard piece of cane, you can use a more severe angle, right? Like something like that. And you can gauge that, how much angle you need in the V by what the reed's giving you. But for the time being, we're going to keep it fairly innocuous. And just put some definition with a slight angle, not overly. And follow through once you started it. You're going to use like a plucking kind of scrape. You know, this is not a blended scrape. You're using that sharp edge to remove, to really start and define the beginning. So you got to have a sharp knife for this. It's very important. It's also a good idea to keep it as even as you can. So we have some definition. We'll kind of even the tip. Not really removing a lot, but we're just trying to make it even, smooth. You don't want too many chatter. Chatter is really not so good for the tip. So let's see if we've got anywhere with that. And because of that angle, we still have a nice blend region from the center of the tip. And so there's your definition. Relatively even. And let's see what it sounds like. So it's a lot looser. Definitely loosened it up. Still a little flat. Yeah, you know, this piece of it is a hard piece of cane, and it does have that tendency to quack. I don't know if you can hear that. Let me play it again, and I'll show you what I mean. When you play the reed and you let go of it, like you let your embouchure real loose, you know. Like half the world plays like that. But if you let your embouchure go loose, you can hear how ducky it is, right? Very quacky. That's a sign of a hard piece of cane. I knew that when I was getting into this one, that it was going to be trouble. And I'll try to remove something from the back. That may help a little bit. We're going to try more in the tip. We're going to increase the angle and see if that doesn't help. Because a really hard piece of cane, you'll probably have to make the angle a little more severe. Strong angle there. Stronger gouges. So we'll do that side. You can see I moved it back a little bit. I'm going to do the same with this. And it's just really defining that corner right in there. With a hard piece of cane, this will help it. But with a weak piece of cane, it'll make it worse. And you want to stay away from the corners of the tip with a hard piece of cane. You don't want to go there. It's not a good place to be. Alright, let's see what we got. So I increased the angle a bit in the corners. You'll see that. And the definition is a little stronger. And let's see if we have made a difference. See, now I let go of the reed. It sounds better. It's not so ducky. All we did was increase that angle, increase the definition, and we were able to get that real quackiness, right? That duckiness out of the reed. That's pretty good. I could do more with it, but that's essentially what I wanted to show you. So here is a reed that it's the opposite of the reed that I just worked on. This one is very vibrant, it's very open, and it's very honky. All right, so if you play it, it honks. And it's very big sounding, yeah? This is a case where there's going to be a bit more blending. And so what I would do is I would start from the corners. I think this tip is just basically too heavy, but the cane is very vibrant. If it were heavy and the cane was not vibrant, I just wouldn't be able to play it. When you have reeds that are very weak, they're kind of flat and flabby, and no amount of scraping and clipping will get them up to pitch. You know, it's indicative of soft cane or very vibrant gouge, which I like to call weak gouges. Careful not to misinterpret weakness and strength. It's just the difference between left and right in this sense. Strong gouges don't vibrate, and weak gouges vibrate a lot. But strong gouges hold the opening a little better, whereas weak gouges don't. Now, the weakness may be because of the thickness of the sides, or it may be the thinness of the midsection. I mean, you know, there are a lot of things that will affect that. But with this kind of reed, and there's certain gouges out there, you really have to make the reed this way. You've got to thin the tip quite a bit. So let's see if we can get this to sound better. Yes, that helped tremendously just by thinning the corners. It really brought it in a bit so it's not so honky-tonk. Plays much better. It's a little resistant, so we're going to do this some more because we'll make it a little lighter. But this is not the reed where you want to work on definition. You want to work on the thinness of the corners. And if you've seen any of my videos, more recent ones, this is what I talk about. I talk about, especially in the Mac Delancey one, strong gouge, weak gouge kind of thing. You really have to approach the reed different, and you have to figure it out right away. You cannot approach pieces of cane the same way. It just doesn't work. What do you call it? Cookie cutter approach. It does not work with even cane from the same batch. You have to approach each reed individually and understand what that reed needs and how to scrape it. I think we got something that's a little better. So that helps quite a bit. Of course, you might want to squeeze it too. You just got to squeeze it a little bit, you know. You kind of get it down so it's more manageable. Gently squeeze, yeah? Gently squeeze the reed. This is old school stuff that works very well. So that's how you approach that. A very vibrant or open piece of wood. It helps to thin the corners, and that's how you get it to settle in.